So, this video is about an unturned community member named Kakoi Charles. Kakoi Charles is an admin in the Unturned official Discord, the lead person in the Unturned podcast, is currently running the Map Mania 2025, and met up with the lead developer of Unturned, Nelson Sexton. Boxboy Josh, or just Box, is a person mentioned in this video quite often. He is the person who gave me the screenshot that was the main discussion of this video. We had fallen out previously, and that's an argument that Kakoi uses often in this video to pin blame on me for making Box upset. Another person mentioned in this video often and also a part of the conversation with Kakoi is a well-known Unturned community member named Megamind Real that unfortunately passed away March 13th, 2023. I was friends with and played with Mega off and on from February 18th, 2022 until he passed away. The topic of conversation was this screenshot. This screenshot came from a group chat called The Woke Turned. The group chat contained Boxboy Josh, Kakoi Charles, Toothy Deerite, Gemsy, Floto, Enderbutt Dragon, and Diddley. The original use for this group chat was to leak a curated map named Escalation, as seen by Diddley's statement and these screenshots. When I confronted Kakoi, he got very deflective and started shifting the blame to others.
If this didn't involve Mega, I honestly don't think I would have even humored any of this, because this is, personally, I don't deal with this, but this is a person, and I'm disgusted that it got to this point. And personally, I think that is disgusting, the portrayal that Box has told you, because that's not true. Obviously, you and Box have not always been on good terms, correct?
Hey, I'm sorry, can I butt in real quick? Nobody else is thinking for me. Like, I think what you said was shitty, and I posted about it. That's
I'm not saying that I'm not saying that
I developed this thought on my own.
Sure.
What?
I'm not denying that. That's why I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to anybody else. If I thought that you were being controlled, then I would go public and say some stuff. But I'm talking to you.
Didn't you just say that Box was trying to make a narrative on me?
Well, yeah, it is a narrative. I mean, a narrative could be just what's presented.
He said he wouldn't humor the post I made if Mega wasn't involved. I think this means if I had posted something that was equally as bad as the one now, but without Mega involved, that my thoughts and opinions would mean absolutely nothing to him. He says he thinks it's disgusting and the portrayal Box has told me is not true. He then contradicts himself, saying that he agrees with me and that I am developing these thoughts on my own.
I'm not saying, when I say narrative, I don't mean like that there's a bunch of people telling you to say this. No, I'm just saying that the evidence that you're being presented with is being used to make you think a certain way, because you don't have the full picture.
Kakoi is shifting the blame onto Box for manipulating my perspective on the situation, which isn't the case. I'm reading off the message how it looks and my thoughts on it.
Box believed and did tell me, and then showed me this evidence too, which he deleted from this group chat. What he believes to be harassment of himself from you.
Mm-hmm.
You can deny that, you can say that it's not true, but that's what I saw, that's what others saw, and we thought it was shitty. And it's not like you do not have this history that's public. I mean, it's well known to individuals who are even not a part of this at all. And I never did that to Box. I never told Box to not be friends with you. I never did anything like that.
Kakoi tries to push blame on me for making Box upset and villainizes me by saying I harassed Box. Then pulls unnamed people into it, saying that they think I was harassing Box as well, completely avoiding the topic of conversation.
And I didn't even really participate in a lot of these conversations because, to be fair, I don't really know you, and I don't really know why you did some of the things you did. And at this time, Box was very depressed and was very, very upset.
He says he never told Box to not be friends with me, which is true to an extent. He never said verbatim, don't be friends with Took, But the message I posted about Alone really looks like he's trying to paint me as a bad person. And he's also trying to make me feel guilty or in the wrong for making Box upset.
After this kind of that image even did occur, he did specifically say that there was no resolving anything, and he just felt, like there was no resolution that he would ever be able to find with people, and that he was going to be bothered by you and Eunice. From at this time, you and Box were not cool at all. You did some things that Box showed in these screenshots that were, in my opinion, reprehensible. Box responded, I didn't bring up Mega at all until he did, and specifically in relation to all of this. And that's what I responded to. I wasn't trying to manipulate Box into telling him to not be friends with you. I just told him that I don't think, obviously that Mega would stand for stuff like that because what Box said.
He tries to put a wedge between me and Box by showing this screenshot. This screenshot is trying to make me think less of Box in that moment. He deflects and pins the blame on me by saying I did reprehensible things to Box and blames Box for what he said about me since Box started the conversation. He constantly mentions that he wasn't trying to manipulate Box into not being friends with me. But that's just what it looks like, and that's how I'm stating it.
Portray this conversation as I was trying to convince him to not be friends with you, because that's not what happened. It was Box very upset with you and Eunice, and I guess everybody else too, and specifically did mention Mega in this whole situation, and I responded to that. It was not spurred on by me. It was not directly, from me. It was from Box, and he deleted that evidence. And personally, I mean, if that's not incriminating enough, then I don't know what is.
Again, he mentions Box was upset with me about something, completely deflecting and shifting the conversation to Box's feelings and actions rather than taking responsibility for what he said. He also says verbatim that it wasn't sprung on by him and it wasn't directly from him, deflecting and pinning the blame on Box. Again, he completely avoids taking responsibility for what he said. It's like a he did it first situation.
Which if I was trying to manipulate him, or if I was trying to get him to not be your friend, he would have shown and not deleted these messages that prove that wasn't what was going to happen. That wasn't happening. It was specifically Box talking and ranting to all of us about this all. And
Kukoi thinks that if manipulation was happening, Box would have screenshotted it. He thinks that if Box didn't delete context, it would show his innocence.
Again, I would never use Mega in a way to try to convince someone not to be friends with someone. That's disgusting. That's not something I would have done at all. And the portrayal of that from Box is just gross. And
he says that he wouldn't use Mega to make someone not be friends with someone, but evidently that's what the screenshot shows. He used our dead friend to make me look like a bad person. He also says that Box portrayed it this way, which is not the case. I made this thought on my own. In my post, I said it was evident.
I was Mega's friend. So was Box. So it's like, yeah, I understand. And again, it's like, I didn't spur this on. Again, I didn't spur any of the conversation on. And again, I mean, you could say that whatever I said doesn't matter because I mentioned him. Well, then you should also be upset with Box for deleting all the stuff that he did say as well.
I made it clear throughout this VC that I don't care what Box said, because the message that he is talking about constantly that Box sent was deleted for a reason, because Box regretted it. He continues to deflect and shift the conversation to what Box said, avoiding all responsibility for what he said. Kukoi thinks Box's actions need to be addressed rather than the issue at hand, which is what he said.
If this was sent to me in private, I would have easily discussed it, and it would have been, I don't know, it would have had more clarity on it, but we're here, so.
I don't think a discussion would have changed my mind, man. It's still whether you think it is or not. Whether the context says it isn't or not. It's I'm very set on that.
That's what you believe. I mean,
that's how it is. That's how it is. That's just.
That's not how. I mean, it's what you believe. Yeah, but I personally don't think it was, given everything that was being said.
Okay. Kakoi doubles down and says it's what he believes. It looks bad, and it is.
I mean, like what I saw, and in my life, people have always upheld other people, even who pass away, and their values and what they believe in. So and so wouldn't think that's correct. That's something that I live with for my life as well.
Nobody is able to speak for Mega unless it's his family themselves or his real-life close friends. Nobody online knew him enough to know what his beliefs are or what he would think about somebody. It is completely disrespectful to speak about Mega in such a way. It looks like Kakoi is weaponizing Mega, a dead kid, to make me look like a bad person to that group chat, the woke turned.
I thought what this was about was specifically about Box being manipulated by me. I didn't know that this was a conversation about specifically what I said was wrong, because that wasn't what you said, because that wasn't what was presented. It was specifically what you said and what I've said multiple times, and that's just not true.
Part of the conversation was about Kakoi being manipulative towards Box for sure, but the reply on my post was me saying verbatim, "It's a shitty and disgusting thing to say nevertheless." He either never saw the reply or is completely ignoring it.
You failed to say. But okay, so I've given you the context to prove that that's not the case, and I've given you the information to show that's not there. More information than Box gave, because all the Box did was take a screenshot. Specifically, got rid of the reply. By the way, I was replying to a message that he deleted. By the way, does that look incriminating? It's very incriminating. And I'm showing you.
The context Kakoi gave me were complete nothing burgers. Two of the screenshots was Kakoi trying to put a wedge between me and Box. Again, he deflects and blames Box for what he said when I have stated throughout the conversation that I don't care what Box said.
You obviously don't care, and this is just, I mean, if you don't want to actually have like a nuanced take, because you don't want to, you don't want to go after Box, you don't want to go after anybody else. It just seems like this is all just like some weird bad faith kind of conversation, and I'm not willing to have that, especially with this about him.
Again, the context he sent were complete nothing burgers. From what I'm understanding, he is accusing me of being closed-minded and thinks I'm siding with Box just because I dislike him. He also accuses me of having bad faith, which is not the case at all.
I don't want, for the sake of everything, I don't want this to continue, because at the end of the day, he was our friend, and I don't think this is right.
He ends the conversation and says the core issue is the respect for Mega, when the topic of conversation wasn't even really about Mega, it was about what Kakoi said. In conclusion, Kakoi Charles refused to take accountability for using a dead kid to further a narrative. He has been given multiple opportunities to apologize for this, but he seemingly will not apologize due to his ego getting in the way. I personally do not believe that Kakoi Charles is fit to be involved with the community in any way. Charles frequently belittles and bullies people. Charles is not one to change his ways, he holds grudges and does not try to seek a middle ground. For the community to heal, people like Charles cannot be welcome in it any longer.